Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for the Temple University Safety Forum. My name is Luann Khan. I will be your moderator, but I want to go directly to Temple University President Jason Wingard.
Thank you, Luann. Temple University community, good evening. I appreciate you all taking time to participate in tonight's forum. Gun violence is an epidemic in this country, and we find ourselves consistently mourning the tragic and senseless loss of lives from coast to coast. Here in Philadelphia, we're dealing with an unprecedented number of homicides, 512 actually this year, more than ever before on record for Philadelphia. And as you know, one of our own, Samuel Collington, a distinguished senior at Temple University, was taken too soon this past Sunday. I met with Mr. and Mrs. Collington earlier this week, and I have to say, as a father of five, I can only say that their grace while enduring this unfathomable grief is inspirational. Tonight, we're here to honor Sam's legacy and to honor so many other victims of gun violence. We have a panel of experts who are in just a minute. They're going to address topics that concern you most, topics that you have chosen through voicing your concerns, voicing your feelings, and recommending certain actions. We're listening, so please keep the recommendations coming. Tonight, we're going to discuss three things. Number one, safety and security resources, both on and off campus. Number two, additional supports for our students. And number three, community action and other law enforcement strategies for reducing gun violence, none as well. Temple's geography gives us an opportunity to be a leader in understanding and reducing violent crime. These are issues that Samuel Collington cared about. These are issues that he studied. These are issues that he worked tirelessly to address. As we take necessary measures to protect our community, we will also honor Sam's memory by applying our knowledge, applying our skills, and applying our passion to address the problems from every angle. Now, community, you've heard me commit to increasing the number of our patrolling officers by 50%. And you've heard me say that I've met with Mayor Kenney and committed to collaborating with the city in an enhanced initiative to reverse the homicide trend. I'm hopeful that this forum tonight will continue our progress of finding solutions. So I'd like to say thank you for your feedback. Once again, thank you for joining us tonight, and thank you for your commitment to making a difference. Luann.
Thank you, President Wingard. To start, I want to tell you that we've received over 700 questions in advance for this forum. Obviously, we can't answer all of them, but many of the questions are similar, and we will answer as many as we can and try to get to the essence of all of them, the big issues, the big concerns. Our goal here is to share as much information as possible with you tonight. You're going to notice that your audio and video is muted, but you can ask questions through the Q&A feature. And if it's a question we haven't already answered, we'll try to answer it. You can click the Q&A button, type the question and click send. You have the option of sending it anonymously. And I will be reading many of these questions verbatim from you, the tough ones included. We have also enabled live transcription for this forum. To view the transcript, click Live Transcript, then select Show Subtitles, and this session will also be recorded. Now I want to go directly to the panel. I want the panelists to introduce themselves briefly, starting with Chief Charlie Leon.
Hey, good evening. First, of course, I want to extend my condolences to Sam's family, his friends, his classmates who are also friends of Sam's, and just, from our department, just how our hearts have broken. I am Charlie Leon. I am the Executive Director of Public Safety and Chief of Police at Temple University.
Okay, and Captain Nasheed Akil.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Captain Nasheed Akil. I am the commanding officer of the 22nd Police District. 22nd Police District covers majority of North Philadelphia. That's from Lehigh Avenue to Girard Avenue and Germantown Avenue to Kelly Drive. So that is the area that we cover, and we're going to discuss the issues that happens within that area. And of course, we know that includes Temple University. So I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Dean Ives.
Good evening. Thank you so much for having me here with you tonight. And along with Chief Leone, I too extend my deepest condolences to Sam and his family and friends and faculty and the entire Temple community. My name is Stephanie Ives. I am the Associate Vice President for Student Affairs and the Dean of Students at Temple. I've been at Temple for quite a while and love the institution. And I oversee many of the departments, programs, and services that support Temple students outside of their academic pursuits. Thank
Okay.
you.
Senior Director Erica Atwood with the city's Managing Director's Office.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you all for hosting this event to have a conversation about issues that are affecting the Temple family, the city of Philadelphia, and our nation in ways that we've not seen ever before. As Senior Director for the Office of Policy and Strategic Initiatives for Criminal Justice and Public Safety, I am charged with leading the team that encompasses the Office of Violence Prevention, the Office of Reentry Partnerships, the Office of Criminal Justice, Time Watch Integrated Services. We're newly standing up an Office of the Victim Advocate. Thank you.
Okay. All right, we're going to start right away. I want to go to Chief Charlie Leone and ask, we just heard from President Wingard that the campus safety force is going to be increased by 50%. And the question is, when will these new safety measures become active, and how long will it take to increase campus safety by 50%?
Thanks, Luann. Well, we've already begun, and we've added patrols by Temple Police, Security, Philadelphia Police with the supplemental patrols. We've also started reviewing listed candidates for hire, and we'll continue a robust recruitment and hiring initiative. The Human Resources team have already pledged to give full support to quickly moving through the processes that we have to go through for our hiring. And so we're looking at a short-term, long-term. So the short-term is having these augmented patrol hours with a longer plan continuing through the hiring process. I'd say the hiring will continue, most likely through the year. So I can't give an exact timeline, but just know that within that timeline, we're going to start real heavy in getting our recruitment and our hiring processes.
Okay, I'm going to be coming back to you and we'll ask some more specifics on that. Captain Akil, how will the Philadelphia Police Department support the safety efforts of Temple University? And will there be more police presence off campus where so many of our students live?
Our support and contribution to the safety throughout Temple is a two-layer approach. The first layer approach is we work in conjunction with Temple. They hire a supervisor and 8 officers of mine to patrol in specific grids around Temple University. We're talking from 12th Street to 20th Street, Susquehanna Avenue to Thompson Street. And anybody knows those particular areas, those are areas where not only the campus is located, but there's a lot of off-campus living. So my officers and a supervisor work from 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. So that's 7 days a week. And also, addition to that, I have officers assigned to that area in the daytime. So from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., I have officers that rove through that grid in that area. We are in constant communication. We're on the same radio band. So any incidents that happen within the confines of Temple University or the confines of the 22nd Police District, Temple Command will always be there to coordinate with Philadelphia Police to make sure we react properly and we coordinate. So I'm in constant communication with the deputy chief and the chief of any issues that we may have in a supporting staff. So this is a 24-hour operation of patrols. Also, addition to the violent crimes, when it comes to non-violent crimes, but still as a nuisance, we had issues with burglaries in that area as well. So we got the information out, educational piece out, letting students know to lock their doors, lock their windows, be vigilant, lighting, roving patrols, how to make sure they know where to find the 22nd Police District, which is located at 17th Montgomery. So those are the different things that we're utilizing in the 22nd District to help with safety and security within the 22nd District.
I want to follow up and say, I know we're all hearing this, but we feel after this latest murder right off campus, we want to know what else you're doing to ensure, what other new steps you're taking to ensure the safety of students off campus. Anything new in addition?
In addition, I can't speak on every strategy that we take because we do use a lot of unmarked vehicles. We use plainclothes officers that's in different areas. We do that. We have bike patrol officers that's out there. Our approach is to make sure we share information with Temple, make sure we share information among ourselves. We use social media and things like that with our criminal intelligence unit of any issues or any specific individuals that's wanted for any crimes or specifics. I'll give you an example. Unfortunately, we also had a shooting on 1700 Cecil B. Moore. So not only were we vigilant with that, but we was able to track any individuals that possibly were, or any gunpoint robberies in that area. By tracking that information, we was able to see other individuals that were robbed by any suspects that possibly fit that description. We was able to get that image of those individuals, share that information, and we made arrests on those crimes on Cecil B. Moore. We're going to continue to do that. Like I said, those Temple officers and supervisors, they're at my district all the time. We share information, we coordinate. They are all on a first name basis. So we are in unison of how to handle crime and how to deal with crime strategies.
Okay, I'll be coming back to you. I'd like to go to Dean Ives, and let's talk about the students and how are students informed about safety and encouraged to use resources.
Well, we have a lot of robust communication strategies, that's for sure. One of the things that I think is great about living in a technological world is that we're using technology to our advantage more than ever before. So we start with orientation, where we educate students about safety. Campus Safety Services goes in front of all of our students at orientation and gives them some basic tips about how to live in an urban environment, how to keep yourself safe. Most of the time, we're educating students about how to be safe at night. Don't walk at 2 o'clock in the morning with your earbuds in under the influence of alcohol. And it's unfortunate that this particular tragedy happened in the light of day. And so it is hard to keep your vigilance constantly up and be aware that there may be safety at risk. But we do trainings, we use TU Alert, we have many programs that I know that the president in his statement on Tuesday said we wanted to enhance. And I think that's the focus there, that if students come to an urban university wanting to be part of the fabric of Philadelphia and experience the dynamism of Philadelphia, that they also have to know that we are in a major city and that gun violence and crime are endemic across the United States. And so you have to be equipped to keep yourself safe, to remain vigilant, to take some precautions constantly, and to make sure that you are keeping yourself in the most advantageous way that you can to protect your safety and not compromise it in any way. But the president has said that we want to enhance those efforts, and we absolutely commit to doing so.
Thank you. Senior Director Atwood, I know everyone wants to know, what role is leadership playing to reduce gun violence in Philadelphia specifically? We're talking about the mayor, the police commissioner, and the district attorney.
Yeah, so we have a comprehensive strategy called the Roadmap to Safer Communities that we put out in 2019. It's a 5-year strategy that we've been working towards. We've had to make pivots to this strategy because of COVID and the uptick of gun violence that we've seen over 2020 and 2021. We are diligently working with that. We've elevated the strategy from just the Office of Violence Prevention to the entire cluster of criminal justice and public public safety. We as a team, as a city, are committed to really implementing strategies and tactics that are related to the core tenets of the strategy. The core tenets of the strategy are connected and thriving youth and young adults and families, stronger community engagement, more coordinated city services. And once we do all of that, kind of the final pillar is safe and healthy communities. What does it look like for our neighborhoods to feel welcoming, inviting to not only those who live there, but those of you who are coming to our city for educational purposes, employment purposes, for vacationing, for all the things. We want it we want the city to be safe, to be whole, to be healthy.
Thank you. I want to bring Dr. Wingard back into the conversation. We just got a question in from one of the people participating tonight. Says, Dr. Wingard, can you, and if you have already, are you planning on getting more students and student-run organizations here on campus involved in the initiatives of promoting better security for our students, like student organizations?
That's a fantastic question. Thank you very much for that. And the answer is yes. In order for us to solve these problems that we're talking about, in order for us to be able to create solutions that are meaningful and long lasting, we have to involve everyone. We have to involve the student community, and that does involve all the student groups that you just mentioned. We have to get the faculty involved. We have to get our staff involved. We have to get our alumni. And most importantly, we have to get the residential community that surrounds our campus involved. All of us working together is what is most important. We have best practices to draw from. We have ideas and recommendations from all of you already. We know what to do. The challenge really is for us all to be able to come together and to use the resources we have to be able to implement these solutions so that we can reduce the trends. That is most important to us. So yes, the answer is yes. We will be engaging lots of different student groups in helping us to make recommendations about which solutions to pursue.
Thank you, President Wingard. I want to circle back to Chief Leone and also Captain Akil. And some of the questions are tough questions. We need to ask them. One of the questions coming in tonight, why have you relaxed the police presence on campus?
Thanks, Luann. Well, we haven't really reduced the presence. And of course, like every organization, there's ebb and flow of personnel. But we make sure that we ensure that our numbers are consistent. We have working numbers for each shift, and sometimes we have to augment that with working extra hours as needed. So we want to keep our shifts consistently staffed.
Well, go ahead.
No, that's it.
Will you be reinstating funding for Philadelphia Police?
Well, I think that there may be a little misinformation with that. University, with the funding, it had to do with the Philadelphia Police Foundation, and that's not the Philadelphia Police Department. So we did not stop that. We do continue to pay for the supplemental patrols, as Captain Akil mentioned. So that has not stopped at all. So we continue with those extra patrols in the safety services.
Okay, and I'm bringing you the questions that are coming in, and one more for you, Chief. Did the number of officers decrease in the past year?
Not when you say decrease, I mean, you may have some loss of personnel, but when it comes to how we do our patrols, and I'm sure a lot of departments, including Philadelphia, do the same, you have a number that you want to stay with. And sometimes you have to augment that with, again, extra hours, people working maybe your days off, if it gets to the point where you need to supplement. But as far as the actual numbers on patrol, we don't change much in there. It's more when you're looking at an overall picture, because patrol and anywhere else, you're going to have some attrition, some hiring, and there's always going to be some transition.
Right, and obviously we know, I mean, it's in the national news, the issue of police officers retiring, the issue with hiring. How are we going to increase security by 50%? And be able to secure these additional officers?
Yeah, true. And we follow that. We understand the challenges of recruiting and law enforcement. That's why we're reviewing our salary structure. We're doing a market analysis, seeing where we are being competitive. We want to be competitive, and we want to show all our offerings. We also are going to look at incentives for retention, keeping our teams, because we want to build on our consistency.
Right. Captain Akil, I just want to come back to you because I know there are probably so many students listening tonight, so many parents concerned about living right off campus and their safety there. Is there anything, I know I keep coming back and saying, what else? What else is going to happen that we can we increase patrol? Can we increase the number of officers? Can you elaborate any more on the number of officers?
Well, what I can elaborate, I'm sorry, you broke up a little bit. I just want to make sure that, you hear me, but we are increasing officers. So we should be having an academy class graduating in January. So that'll be an increase of officers within the 22nd Police District. But what I will say, and I'm gonna be candid with you, that policing, especially uniform policing, is an important piece, but it's just a piece of this system we have. I want to touch on the incident that happened on Park Avenue. We were out there policing diligently. This individual that committed this heinous crime, he's been arrested by us numerous times. We, as recent as August of this year, for doing the same crime. But we need to complete this circle of this criminal justice system to make sure that things are done correctly. What I mean by that, individuals that commit these crimes need to be held accountable, and need to be held accountable for the type of crimes they're committing. Civil rights is for individuals of victims of crimes, their families, victims of crimes as well. You should not have to be worried to park your car at a certain location, or walk off campus, or walk from Temple University and worry that you're gonna run into an individual that committed the same crime multiple times and have the confidence to continue that crime, knowing that penalties is not gonna come their way. We can put handcuffs on individuals multiple times. And I'm just telling you, and I'm being candid with you, that we lock up individuals, and majority of the time they have priors. That means prior arrests, and mostly committing the same crimes. And it makes it difficult for us as Philadelphia police officers and Temple police officers to do the job out there. If we lock an individual up on Friday, and then on Monday we see them doing the same thing.
I have
And
to-
it's not just, we're not going to arrest our way out of this situation. Yes, social services, housing, jobs, those type of things as well. But there are individuals out here that are committed in the things that they are doing out here, and they have no fear. And I don't want to get all, worked up here, but I'm just telling you that it's not just a policing thing. We're just a small piece of this criminal justice system. And it's not just criminal justice reform for individuals that's been done wrong by the criminal justice system. It's criminal justice reform for individuals that's victims of crimes, and as parents of victims of crimes, or potential victims of crimes that just want to go out there and just get an education from Temple University.
I have to ask, what are the discussions like between the police department and the district attorney's office on this issue right now?
We have lots of conversations with the district attorney's office. I just say the office, the district attorney himself. He has views on maybe bail and cash bail, but it's not just, I'm not going to put all this on the district attorney as well. Judges, bail commissioners, social, advocacy groups, things like that. And what I'm noticing, a lot of individuals that's involved and do not live in North Philadelphia or live in a surrounding area. Yes, you're allowed to have an opinion, you're allowed to have input, but are you affected by that opinion and input? And and I see that Temple students, their parents, the residents of North Philadelphia, my police officers, Temple police officers, are affected by the things that happen within Philadelphia. So yes, we do have conversations. I do not agree with everything that Larry Krasner speaks of, but I do have agreeing with certain things that he do that's out of his control. So I'm not going to put it all on him.
Okay, Captain, thank you. I know I put you on the spot there. I want to get back to talking about students, and I know parents have asked Dean Ives, why are so many students living in off-campus housing rather than on campus? What are the housing challenges?
Well, that is an excellent question, and I'm really very glad that we're able to talk about this. We guarantee housing to all first-year students, and we're so glad that they're able to have this very traditional residential experience. We have beautiful residence halls like Morgan Hall. They come in, they meet their roommates, they start their Temple experience, and they really feel like they're a part of the Temple fabric. At the same time, it's their first step into adulthood and independence, living away from their families. And so living in a residence hall really gives them the opportunity to sort of test out this new identity, figure out how to work in the world without someone waking you up in the morning or doing your laundry. And so they are becoming adults. And after that first year, they decide, okay, this has been a really wonderful experience. I'm ready to take the next step. I feel prepared, equipped. I've learned the skills I wanted to learn through this first year of college. It's helped me become a different person. I want to go out and I want to live now with these friends that I've made in an apartment off campus, still near campus, able to walk back and forth, use the library, use our dining halls and our recreational facilities and go to class. But at the same time, not live under the university's direct observation. So we understand that. We understand as well that there's a lot of very attractive inventory around campus. Many developers have come in and renovated homes and put up new apartment buildings that they promote as being Temple residences when they're not at all. They are not under the university's watch, but they have Temple in their name and they claim to be part of the Temple on-campus environment. And that's great. If you can live next to campus, that's wonderful, but not all students are able to live right there next to campus. It is more expensive and our students are quite price conscious. So we embrace or we encourage that they are stepping out into adulthood, and we accept that they want to live as independent people with their friends and having this life that sort of puts together independence and yet campus resources. And because there is so much attractive inventory around campus, that does give us pause as to how much more on-campus housing we should provide if the market's just not there. Because again, students may prefer to live without university oversight. So it is something that we continually analyze, and we absolutely will be analyzing in this context of more parents wanting their students to live on campus, and perhaps more students also wanting to live on campus. But that's been the balance for the past several years that we've been grappling with and assessing each and every year.
Okay, I want to go back to Senior Director Atwood. One of the questions, I'll just read it. It says, I want to see evidence of trying to address the deep-rooted issues of gun violence rather than perpetuating its criminalization. What are effective non-law enforcement strategies to reduce gun violence in this community?
Sure, and whomever wrote that question, thank you for that question. And I will say, those who, where do I even begin with this? Those who are closest to the problem are closest to the solution. And when we make investments in community directly with, into, and for community, we will begin to see ourselves dig out of this hole of what has been historical trauma for many of us for a long time. Gun violence is a symptom of larger problems. There are studies that tell you there are 4 kind of tenets that are indicators or social determinants of health that exist that will tell you a neighborhood is vulnerable to gun violence. They are lack of quality primary and secondary education. They are lack of community connectivity and community cohesion and social cohesion for individuals in neighborhoods. It is lack of access to quality healthcare, both physical and behavioral. And last is a lack of access to economic mobility. So what does it mean that if you are in a neighborhood where the cost of living is increasing, so is your income, so you are able to stay stable in your neighborhood? Those are the tenets that we see that actually are impacting communities. I grew up in an era, I'm a Gen Xer, officer. I grew up in the height of the crack epidemic in Camden, New Jersey. I am seeing some of the same ebbs and flows that I saw as a teenager, as a young child, that I'm seeing now in communities that that have been historically impacted by poverty, have been historically impacted by lack of quality public education. And until we as a country commit ourselves to getting to the bottom line, particularly in poor communities of color, and we start to build strategies and policies and practices and programs that undo some of the historical racism and systemic racism that we've seen in our neighborhoods, we're going to unfortunately go through these ebbs and flows. Gun violence is comparative to a malignant tumor. And when you remove the tumor, you still have to go through health and wellness for your body, for your physical body and your mental well-being. What does it look like to be the chemotherapy after we remove the issue of gun violence and heal our neighborhoods? And I think that's one of the conversations we really have to have. We want to have triage, and we need to have triage in our neighborhoods. And the work that the security force does at Temple University, the work that Captain Akil and our police department, they are the triage. But what's the true healing of neighborhoods so we don't lose more children?
Thank you. All right, I'm going to start digging into some of the questions that are being asked right now as we're having this conversation. I want to go to Chief Leone. You're being asked, will the security perimeter extend 2 blocks in each direction of Temple campus where student housing is? It needs to, is what the question says.
Okay, yeah, and the patrol boundaries sometimes can be confusing to folks, in the Commonwealth especially. So for us, there's a clear geography, if I can explain quickly, and that has to do with a lot of colleges and universities adhere to that, and that's property owned, controlled, leased by the institution, by Temple. This includes on campus, public area adjacent to the campus, and then there's the patrol area. And what we did was we extended that when we started seeing housing opportunities developing off campus in our neighboring community, students using those options. But however, we do have legal limits to extending. So when we looked at the boundaries, we took a hard look at how far we can go, how we would do it not only operationally but also legally. And so it would be a true challenge, and quite honestly may even be illegal if we try to go too far out beyond where we are.
There's also a question about, I'll just read it. What is being done to protect on-campus dorms that are not actually on campus? I think all campus dorms are on campus, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to interpret that as maybe, we do have, private apartments complexes. For instance, right across the street, I'm pointing right across the street from my office.
Yes.
We have the view and we have the vantage. Those are privately run. However, they are within our patrol. We do respond to anything that happens within that complex. We work with the management teams. They have security in the buildings. We offer a lot of recommendations, which they take, and they try to, as closely as possible, mirror, how Temple does things when it comes to, providing safety inside their residence halls.
Here's another question. What is the average number of Temple police on patrol on any given shift? Right, that is the question.
Okay, yeah. So that one is, again, as probably Captain Akil would attest to as well. We're always kind of careful on how much we put out as far as specifics with how many patrols we have, with shifts, with hour-to-hour locations. So I wouldn't give an exact number. I wouldn't want it to be detrimental. I can just tell you that we do, effective patrol strategies. We look at the zones. The campus is divided into zones or sectors, as Philadelphia calls them. And what we do is there are times when we have to shift and we have to move, depending, as we're keeping a watchful eye on any types of trends. We want to move shift deployment using directed patrol. So, for me to say, oh, in this location or in this day we have X number of people, I wouldn't want to actually be that specific.
And this is an interesting question. Is it possible to make parking more affordable? I know this is really not your area, but I understand it. Is it possible to make parking more affordable for employees so they are not parking on the street? A lot of employees park far away. I know this is true in terms of parking off campus, and when they're walking back at night, they feel vulnerable. Is that something you take a look at?
Yeah, I can certainly talk. I mean, the parking is not in my area. However, it's in the same portfolio where I report. So I can certainly bring that back and talk that through with the folks that oversee that area. I can tell you that we do offer, the walking escort. If a staff member's here and it's at night and they want to walk to their car and it's, far and not near the parking lot, then we'd be happy to walk them there.
We're getting a lot of people asking, how many officers does 50% mean numerically?
Yeah, well, you're looking at filling somewhere around 40 openings, given your rough estimate.
That's a lot of people to hire.
It is a lot of people, and we're planning on doing it.
Another question for one of our other panelists. Are students made aware they're living as part of the Philadelphia fabric? They are guests in a vibrant city and must respect the lives of the residents who live in the city full-time. I think that's for Dean Ives. I know this has been an ongoing issue.
Yeah, I very much appreciate that question, because one of our major initiatives out of my office for the past several years has been what we call the Good Neighbor Initiative. In response to student behaviors in the neighborhoods around campus with partying and trash and noise, several years ago, we started a Good Neighbor policy and a Good Neighbor Initiative, which included programs that help students transition between the university housing that they have in their first year into being good neighbors when they live off campus, being able to understand how to become part of the block that they live in, meeting their neighbors, speaking with them, helping out if neighbors are elderly or have kids. And so we're trying to make sure that our students do understand that they are transitional through that neighborhood. They are maybe moving from apartment to apartment every year that they live off campus. And if they live off campus sophomore, junior, and senior year, that may be 3 different apartments on 3 different blocks in 3 different areas around campus. And so there are permanent residents who work and invest in the neighborhood, and our students should be respectful of their neighbors. And so we do a lot to make sure that our students do understand that they live in a vibrant historical neighborhood in North Philadelphia, and being a good neighbor is something that we value and something that we want to encourage them to embrace. I think that during the pandemic, it was very challenging to orient our students as we would normally with in-person overnight sessions. And so as we are emerging, hopefully successfully out of the pandemic, we'll be able to offer in-person orientation overnight sessions again, where students will really get into the sort of the sense of what campus is all about. And as they live in housing, we'll have more opportunities to educate them as they transition back into the neighborhood. One other thing that I want to mention is that through our Good Neighbor Initiative, we do actually go door to door to our students in our neighborhoods, sort of canvassing the area, making sure that they understand about trash days and recycling. And again, being a good neighbor and noise and alcohol and so forth. So we absolutely are trying to make sure that students feel like they want to be a positive contributor to the community. And I know that some of our initiatives have been very successful. Again, students come in and they come and they go. And so it's an ongoing effort as we get new classes of students that come in that have to be re-educated again.
Okay, and I really want to reflect more of the questions coming in. We've got a parent who I completely understand asking, how could this murder, how could this most recent incident, how could this have happened in broad daylight? Of course, we all feel that. We're all thinking that. And she's saying, have you considered providing students with a safety button that they can wear or keep close, or there's something else? And we also want to talk about walking escorts and the flight transportation. Can you speak about that, Dean Ives, a little bit more?
Sure. The promotion of walking escorts, the bike escorts, the flight program. I know that part of President Wingard's initiatives is to enhance those programs. They are programs that we rely on to ensure our students are safe as they travel back and forth from campus to their off-campus apartments. And we have heard the concerns that the flight shuttle takes too long, or the bike and walking escorts also take too long. But I know that when students are using them, which is good, we want them to use them. It's just that we must be able to adapt the usage with increased resources so that they aren't waiting that long. We don't want them to be dissuaded from using these safety resources because they think that it takes too long for them to get there and they're tired at 11 o'clock at night coming from the library. In terms of safety buttons, I think Chief Leon may have to speak to that more specifically, because he's probably more up to date on the technologies that connect with police dispatch than I would be. But I do know that, again, as I said at the very beginning, technology is our very good friend here. And the better our technology gets on these issues, the more we will acquire them, adapt or bring them into our everyday procedures and be able to hopefully enhance student safety with the use of them.
Right. And let's go back to Chief Leon, if you can speak to that. And also, we're being asked about increases in call boxes, again, the shuttles, lighting. What more infrastructure is going to happen here?
Yeah, well, I'll start with what you're talking about, the emergency button. And actually, you're making an exclusive here. So we transitioned to a new provider for emergency messaging. It's called Rave. And with that, we also purchased a number of solutions that we're going to phase in. And one of those solutions is it's called Rave Guardian. And what that does is that you can offer a virtual escort. Our dispatcher, you can contact the dispatcher and put a time in there of, going from point A to point B. The dispatcher will check on you if you don't want to, walk with someone. There's also you can text dispatch. We're going to have some pre-canned information that a student can touch. We think it's going to be real helpful particularly if you're at a party and someone may need assistance. And sometimes, as a student, we're with a bunch of friends, we may not want to be the one to pick the phone up and call. So this will give them an opportunity to reach us without being so conspicuous. So someone may need help, either whether it's intoxication or something like that. And then the other piece to it is there is a panic button portion to that. So we're actually going to go partner and talk with our colleagues at Drexel and talk with their chief today because we were going through with our IT VPs and just going through how quickly we can put this other phase together and then hopefully roll it out, when we start coming back in the spring.
Okay.
I think
Good.
that's going to help us a great deal.
Yeah. Captain Akil, I'm sorry, did you have more to add?
No, I knew you had some other question. I started talking.
Well, I want to get back to Captain Akil, again, putting you on the spot, I know, but we're being asked, and I know a lot of people are thinking this, and this is the question, Sam was shot in broad daylight. Where were the patrols on Sunday afternoon? And will the city police department provide more officers on foot patrol? One parent is saying they visit monthly and they don't see police officers on foot.
As far as the patrols on that specific day, they were patrolling throughout the 22nd Police District. And I just want to make sure it's known that it's a new generation of criminal and crime now. The days of thinking that crimes are not committed in the daytime, crimes are not committed on a Wednesday or on a Sunday, that we used to seeing at nighttime or more on weekends in certain pockets where it's real dark. It's a different type of criminal now. And I'm being honest, especially with the implementation of social media and communication, things are done differently. These young adults are growing up fast and they're learning things and how to do things. And that's what we're competing with. But as far as our patrols, foot patrols, we are within the whole confines. And that's one of the things I laid out of what we cover throughout the 22nd Police District. We were in close proximity as far as we wasn't on Park Avenue, but we were off of 15th Street, off of 15th and York, because we have automated vehicle locators systems where we can tell where police cars were at when a crime happens. So I was able to check to see where police cars were during the time of that location. We answer radio calls. We answer service to individuals' homes. We answer to shootings, stabbings, things like that. A lot of those things can affect deployment and reaction of police personnel. So if an incident was happening that may draw multiple police cars and personnel to that location, of course, you may have some spots where there's not a police car for that moment. But after that incident is handled, yes, we get back on routine patrol. Like I said again, and I addressed again, we've been vigilant in that area. We had a few incidents where we had to chase a couple cars that was wanted for carjackers that crashed. Like I said, we locked this individual up multiple times. We made stops throughout that area. So like I said, I don't want to keep going back and hammering on other little parts of the system that needs to improve, and individuals need to do their part. But when it came to the Philadelphia Police Department and Temple Police, we were out there vigilant.
Okay, let me move to Senior Director Atwood and ask you, are there any community measures addressing the many needs of the local youth to dissuade them from violence and offer hope?
Absolutely. And so there are a number of programs that we have that we work with, that we support, specifically to the city. If you're thinking about, or if you're asking about individuals under the age of 18, through our Department of Human Services, our Child Welfare Department, for those who are not from Philadelphia, DHS has a program called Intensive Prevention Services, and it is a non-law enforcement, a non-mandated opportunity for young people under the age of 18 who are at a higher risk of either being victims of perpetrators of gun violence. And you all have been asking questions, like Luann, I have been, and while other folks are asking questions, I have been kind of in the weeds with you all in trying to answer questions that are directly related to my portfolio that I can be helpful to. And one of the things that I want to say from some of the questions that I'm seeing, or some of the statements that I'm seeing, and I want to kind of ask you all to think about, is what happened to a 17-year-old? And I'm not making excuses, and I'm not saying that there isn't a role of accountability here, but what happened to a 17-year-old somewhere in his life that he thought that taking the life of another was okay and acceptable? We have to begin to unpack what is happening to our children in neighborhoods that are experiencing poverty, that are most vulnerable to gun violence, and what are we doing as good neighbors, as good partners, and as good leaders to ensure that our children have a pathway to opportunity, and we're not continuously cycling them into our criminal justice system and we cannot continue to arrest our way out of this problem. That's how we got here in the first damn place. If we do not take a interest in poor families and what is happening to Philadelphians in our city as being good neighbors, we will never get out of this problem. We have to ask our questions. What is happening to our children? What has happened to them to make them this hardened, to not see the value of their life and a life of another? And I would encourage us, as we have this conversation about safety, wellness, wholeness, being good neighbors, we really dive deep into what it means to come out of this and actually have true solutions that are community-based, community-led, and community sustainable, and that we don't come in and just be the magic makers of, we just need to have more police or lock these bad actors out. We are not what is the worst thing that we've ever done, including murderers. And what do we do to turn the tide so this is not a problem in our country and in our city and on your campus?
Changing directions just a little bit, Dean Ives, I want to talk about the mental health supports for students. There is one question saying, our daughter shared that getting an appointment with a Temple counselor was difficult. Are there plans to provide more support?
We have had probably an unprecedented increase in demand for counseling. The pandemic and tragedies this year have really caused a great deal of grief, depression, anxiety. In addition, students are really having a hard time transitioning into college life, and the pandemic really created sort of this very isolated world, and they're having challenges kind of coming back into face-to-face contact because it's stressful. And so our counseling center is very, very busy, very busy. I also want to mention our counseling center is not set up for long-term counseling. We are a short-term, sustain you, refer you, get you diagnosed, get you to the right person counseling center. We cannot provide long-term permanent counseling for all the 4 years that a student might be with us. And so when students try to get into the counseling center, there is an intake window for them on a daily basis, and they can be assessed and then given an appointment according to the urgency of their need. We must be able to see students who are really critical first, like an ER would do, unfortunately. And for students that are depressed, lonely, homesick, we have other programs, group counseling programs as an example. And so one of the things I want to make sure people understand is that our counseling service is there for our students, and they care deeply for our students. They are incredibly committed at a very difficult time. I love that our students are patient. I also love that they've always advocated for more counseling, and I cannot thank them enough, especially Temple Student Government, for all of their advocacy. And this is a conversation that will move forward, but I do encourage students, keep doing the intake process, go to the counseling center, let us assess you, and let us build a plan for you that is right for you, using one of the resources on campus, or perhaps a referral off campus if that might be more appropriate for your need.
And I'm going to stay with you, Dean Ives, because we're also getting questions about what are we doing for Sam Collington's family? Is there going to be a university vigil?
Yes, yeah. Well, first of all, our hearts are absolutely broken for them and Sam's friends and family and his faculty as well. President Wingard did visit with his family. I have spoken with his mom. Her courage in talking about Sam being their hero and justice for him has been inspiring. And I know that it is going to inspire our students to greater action as well. There is a vigil on Monday night that's planned by our terrific student leaders in Temple Student Government. I know that they have invited families to come if they'd like to come. We have had several student deaths, unfortunately, this year, some from accidents. And so they want to be able to recognize each of those losses this semester. In addition, we've invited members of our Interfaith Council. So we may have representatives from Hillel, the Newman Center, one of our campus imams. And having done campus vigils in the past, I know that they are a wonderful opportunity for the community to come together and really feel the love that our students have for their lost friends, and to feel a sense of collective mourning and grief that hopefully helps them take one step towards healing, that they don't feel so alone in the overwhelming grief and pain that they feel. So we will be doing that on Monday night at 6 o'clock at the Bell Tower.
Thank you. Shifting back to Chief Leone, we're being asked about security cameras and TU security camera coverage and monitoring. Again, is that being expanded? And tell us more about what we have right now.
Yeah, we have a very robust camera system that's maintained by our folks at Telecommunication and ITS. Probably we have over 1,000 cameras around the campus, and I think for us, we have our dispatchers opportunities to view the cameras, go back and replay. I think they do help us as a deterrent as well when you see the infrastructure on campus, and for us, and that helps us even with our integration, because our computer dispatching system's integrated with the Philadelphia Police 911, and that helps us with our partnership and our utilization of resources. So our dispatchers, even if they see a 911 call, They can, if it's in our area, we can pull up the camera, they can look and they can see what's happening even prior to any officers arrive, and can get that information out to the responding officers. So, our cameras are wonderful. What we're doing with the review is we're going to see areas where the cameras themselves may need to be enhanced to new technology. We have a lot of latest technology with the replacement, but there are some that we may want to look at that may need to be replaced. There are some areas that we want to see that where we can do additional coverage. And we want to make sure that, we have as we already have, excellent technology, we want to make sure that we are, staying ahead of the curve as we try to when it comes to technology, camera use, lighting, and the emergency phones, of course.
Captain Akil, can you address that as well? Cameras that you have in the area around campus?
Yes, we have multiple cameras surrounding the campus, not inside the actual campus, and throughout the 22nd Police District. They are monitored 24/7 at our Delaware Valley Intelligence Center. These are officers and detectives. Has that panoramic ability and recording ability. That's how we was able to, get facial recognition of a lot of individuals that was committing those gunpoint robbers. And then we got officers that's in constant communication with LAV while officers are on patrol during the course of any event. So yes, we do have cameras, and we also have the ability officers can utilize an app on their cell phone to view cameras. So it's not just at the Delaware Valley Intelligence Center. The officers, that's while they're on patrol, they go through training through our criminal intelligence unit, and they're able to view cameras as well.
Okay. We just have a few more minutes. We're going to wrap up at 8 o'clock, and I just want to ask our panelists if you have some quick final, if anyone wants to contribute, quick final thought. There's something else that you want to say that hasn't been said.
I'll start. I will say that to all the students who are here in Philadelphia, to all the parents who are across the country and in the region, we invite you and speak on behalf of the mayor and the managing director. We invite you to stay engaged with the city and with us as we work in partnership with Temple University and other academic institutions and partners across the city to create safe and healthy and hopeful communities. We invite you to engage for students in particular who want to be a part of the solution. We have programs that are specifically for 18 to 40 year old young professionals or academic students that we would love to have you participate in. Please feel free to reach out to our office. Our email is cjps@phila.gov. And I also encourage you to follow us on Instagram at PhillyAlive215. Thank you all again. I cannot tell you how heartening and heartbreaking this conversation is. And I just look forward to continuing to work towards solutions.
Anyone else? Okay. I want to thank everyone. Again, we have over 1,000 participants, and I know so many questions. But this is just the beginning of our conversation. This is not the end. We will continue having an open channel of communication. We'll be updating you on information on the Campus Safety Services website. You can also now, and we've just created this email, you can direct concerns and questions to safety@temple.edu. When you send us your questions, we will send it to the appropriate person. We will try to respond to everything that comes in. For students, again, thank you for participating and being here. We want to tell you that the Temple Student Government will be providing updates and offering more programming and advocacy for students. And we encourage you to follow them on Instagram @TempleTSG for more information. Again, on behalf of the panelists and Temple University, thank you for joining us tonight. Have a good evening.